Hey, if you're looking to create financial projections for a new car dealership or even a used car dealership, and maybe you're trying to create projections for a potential loan, maybe some floor plan financing or just a startup loan, or for potential investors, well, you've come to the right place because we have developed a financial projection template built specifically for car dealerships. I'm going to walk you through that today, and I've linked to this template in the description of the video below, which you can go check out. And while you're there, like this video and subscribe. That would really help us out a lot. Before I jump into the specifics of how this template works, a little bit about us. So my name is Adam Huxham. I'm the co-founder of Projection Hub. And over the last decade, we've helped over 50,000 entrepreneurs create financial projections for potential investors and lenders. And specifically today, we're going to be focused on this car dealership template that we've just released. And so let's dive in. Okay, so I'm starting out on the at a glance tab, and this is kind of the end in mind here. So once you have completed your projections, you're going to get come to this at a glance tab. You'll see a profit and loss at a glance with 5 years of projections. You'll see some nice summary data, things like total dealership walk-in revenue, and then total online vehicle sales. So this template has the ability to do both kind of the walk-in traditional vehicle sales on the lot, and then also online vehicle sales as well. You also see some different graphs and charts over here, and then you will get a 5-year income statement, projected income statement, a 5-year cash flow statement, a 5-year balance sheet, and then an income statement, cash flow, and balance sheet by month, broken down by month for each of the 5 years as well. So that's kind of the deliverable at the end of the process. Let's dive back into how did we get there? What do we need to fill out? And so this particular template is, again, that kind of retail walk-in to the lot, buy a car, or the online piece as well. And this has the ability to have multiple lots. So you can actually have several different dealership lots all in the same model, and you can open those over time. So if you're going to open your first one now, but you want to build into the model, hey, we're going to open more as we go. And so this model supports that. So what we've done here is we can add investments and investors. And what I have kind of built in this concept of, hey, we're going to open multiple units. So we've got an equity investment for each of the 4 units that we're thinking about opening. And you can see here's the months that the investment would come in to help cover the startup cost of each unit that you're opening or each dealership that you're opening. All right, and so you'll have, we assume, some leasehold improvements that you'll do for each dealership that you open. And you can see the months that you'll be spending on those leasehold improvements as well aligns with your schedule to open. And then we also have some loans. So we're saying, hey, for the first dealership, we're going to have $1 million loan to help us get started. And then after that, as the business starts generating cash flow, in order to open the future dealerships, we won't need to borrow quite so much. We'll be able to start cash flowing that. And so we'll have $300,000 loans for each of these unit dealership 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to jump over to the import revenue tab now. And so we can say, hey, how many days per week are we open? And then you can see here where you add the stores or add the dealerships to the model. So when do they open? Month 1, 13. So basically I have one dealership opening at the beginning of each year for the first 4 years there. And then this is useful. So what this does is for each dealership that you open, we kind of assume that there's going to be a ramp up period. And so say, okay, hey, we're going to have walk-in visitors per day per dealership of 15 in year 1, and then that's going to grow over time. And then also your close rate, we have increasing over time. And I grabbed this close rate, and you can see a source here where you can find all sorts of different ranges about what a close rate should be. And the close rate for a walk-in customer versus someone that you've already been talking to or communicating with, maybe a lead that came online, can vary dramatically. So just keep that in mind. But that will help you then predict, okay, here's the number of transactions or vehicle sales per day per dealership. And again, this is only for, we're looking at the walk-in visitors right now, not the online sales. And then the number of products per transaction. So that would, again, is really the number of vehicles per transaction. I should just type that in, number of vehicles per transaction. And then that will calculate total vehicles sold per month from all the stores that you have open. And then you've got a product table here where you can say, okay, we've got new vehicles, low cost, mid cost, and high cost, and we've got used vehicles, low cost, mid cost, and high cost. And you can put in average price points for those, and then the cost for the vehicle. And so the way I did that I found a source that said average margins for new vehicles are roughly 7% and for used vehicles roughly 12%. So if you see up here in this calculation where it says cost of product, the calculation here, if I click on that, it's multiplying 18,000 to price times 0.93. So you'd have 93% cost of goods sold. In other words, 7% profit margin, gross profit margin on a new vehicle, new low-cost vehicle. And so we've done the similar thing here. You'll notice here for the used vehicles, I have 0.88, which gives you 88% cost of goods sold, or that 12% gross profit margin. All right, now you want to break down so we've got 100% of vehicles that we're selling are broken down between these different categories. So we're saying 15% are new vehicles that are low cost, 20% are the mid-range new cost vehicles. And so you can break that down, what you expect your mix to be. If you're only going to do used vehicles, you can disregard. You can put in zeros for new vehicles here and just focus on the used. And you might then need to increase the used vehicles to 50, 25, 25, for example. All right, so that's how you can change this table. And now we are going to go through a similar exercise for the online vehicles, except what we're doing with online vehicles is we're assuming that you're advertising, whether that's on different car marketplaces, vehicle marketplaces, where you're listing vehicles for sale, or on your own website and you're driving advertising dollars through Facebook or Google AdWords to your own website. You're going to have some sort of advertising budget that's going to have a cost per click. That's going to get you visitors to your website. And then some percentage of those website visitors are going to turn into customers. And so we're saying 2% conversion rate here of the 725 monthly website visitors gives us 15 total orders for the month. And then you do for online vehicles, you'll want to go through the same, fill out a table now for your online vehicles as well. And so maybe you only do used vehicles online. Again, you could zero out the new vehicles in this table. And that will give you total vehicle sales online and then the cost of goods sold associated with that. And then we have added in a service department revenue and cost of goods sold section here. So if you have a service department, you can add in the number of vehicles serviced per month here. Otherwise, you can just put in zero all of this out. But if you do have a service department, put in the number of vehicles you expect to service. You can put in a growth rate. And then what's your average ticket for service? So we have $190 as a starting point here. Gives you your service department revenue. And you're probably going to be shooting for some sort of gross profit. So we're saying, hey, average gross profit margin for the service department is 33%. That will then allow us to calculate our cost of goods sold. All right, so then jumping over to the input other expenses tab, this is where you can input your operating expenses. And so what you'll be able to do here, I just need to expand those rows. You can add different expenses. You can categorize expenses by kind of by department, for example, like sales and marketing. And then you can make the expense either a fixed dollar amount or a percentage of revenue. So like, let's say you do sales commissions and you're going to pay 2.5% of the price of the vehicle is the sales commission. So you can enter in that here we have sales commissions as a percentage of revenue. So you can see how you enter that. And maybe payment processing fees as well, 2% of the total revenue. And then you can also have per store expenses. So you're going to have per store rent of $10,000 per store that you're renting, per dealership is really what we're looking at here. And then per store utilities. Now, this is kind of assuming that it's going to add $10,000 of rent for each dealership that is open per month. So that's what that's going to do. If you're going to have vastly different rent prices for your different stores, then you'd want to enter in each individual store's rent individually. So, town 1 rent $10,000, town 2 rent $20,000, right? You need to enter those in as separate lines here. All right, and then the last thing I'll point out here is on the salaries and dividends tab. You can enter in different salaried positions. You can enter in what month you expect them to start. So these would be kind of like the overhead for the dealership over all the different dealerships, over all the units. And then down here, you can add per dealership staff team. So you have a dealership manager, sales team manager, other salaried positions that you might have at each individual dealership. You can enter those in here. Now, you don't need to, at least the way I've entered it in here, you don't need to enter in separate sales team members because we're going to pay them through the percentage of revenue, sales commission lines. So once you're done, you're back to the at a glance tab. You'll be able to see how things turn out. So if you have any questions about how to fill this out, need someone to help you fill it out for you, be happy to help you with that. One thing I failed to mention, I'm going to find this for you. I failed to mention here, a key thing for car dealerships is floor plan financing. And so what we've done here is we've assumed that you're going to finance 90% of the value of the vehicles that you have on the floor, and or really 90% of your inventory will be financed. And then that interest rate for that floor plan financing we have in here is at 5%. And so if you are working on your own floor plan financing, ensuring those assumptions, what percentage do you expect to pay as interest rate, and what percentage of your total inventory that you'll have on hand do you expect to have floor plan financing for. So with that, I think we're all set. And if you have any questions, reach out to support@projectionhub.com. Thanks.